All right, so Keto Elevate C8 MCT oil powder. Um, you've been hearing about it, and you want to know, like, does it really live up to the hype? We're doing a deep dive into the marketing materials from Bayer Teresa to help you separate the science from the sales pitch.
What's really interesting here is this idea that you can get some of the benefits of the keto diet, like increased energy and focus, without actually having to follow the restrictive diet itself.
But isn't that a bit of a contradiction? How can you, like, reap the rewards without putting in the work?
Well, that's where the science of MCTs comes in, or medium-chain triglycerides. They're a special type of fat that your body can easily convert into ketones, which are an alternative energy source, particularly for your brain.
So it's like bypassing the usual process of getting energy from carbs.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
And Keto Elevate specifically focuses on C8, also known as caprylic acid, which is considered the most potent type of MCT for ketone production.
Hold on, I've heard of MCT oil before. Isn't that just coconut oil? Could I just add that to my coffee and get the same effect?
That's a common misconception. While coconut oil does contain MCTs, it's a mix of different types, including C10 and C12, which aren't as readily converted into ketones.
So you're saying that I'd need to drink an awful lot of coconut oil to get the same amount of C8 as in like a serving of Keto Elevate?
Precisely. And not to mention the extra calories and potential digestive issues that could come with consuming that much coconut oil.
Yeah, no thanks. Okay, so pure C8 is the key here. But why all the hype about ketones? What's so special about them?
Well, ketones can offer several potential benefits. First, they can be a more efficient fuel source for your brain than glucose, which might explain why people report increased mental clarity and focus on a ketogenic diet.
So that foggy brain feeling some people get when they cut carbs could be avoided with C8.
Potentially, yes. Another interesting aspect is that ketones don't cause the same blood sugar spikes and crashes as glucose, which might help with sustained energy levels and fewer cravings.
I'm starting to see why people are intrigued by this whole ketone thing. But are there any downsides to using MCTs as an energy source?
Well, some people experience digestive discomfort when they first start taking MCTs, but that usually subsides with continued use. It's important to start with a small dose and gradually increase it as your body adjusts.
Makes sense. Now, the marketing material lists a whole range of potential benefits for Keto Elevate, from increased energy and reduced cravings to graceful aging and enhanced physical performance. Are these claims too good to be true?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? While there's certainly promising research on the benefits of C8 MCTs, it's important to remember that more research is always needed, especially when it comes to specific claims like anti-aging benefits.
But what about the claims related to mental clarity and focus? Is there any scientific evidence to support those?
Actually, there is. Studies have shown that C8 can cross the blood-brain barrier more easily than other fats, providing a quick energy source for your brain. This could explain why some people experience a mental boost after consuming C8.
Wow, that's fascinating. I'm skeptical by nature, but the idea of a supplement that can directly fuel my brain is pretty intriguing.
It is exciting. However, we need to be cautious about extrapolating too much from individual studies. The research is still evolving, and we need more long-term studies to confirm these findings.
All right, so let's not get ahead of ourselves, but it's safe to say that the potential benefits of C8 are worth exploring further. So how does Keto Elevate measure up to other MCT supplements on the market? What makes it unique?
One key differentiator is that Keto Elevate is 100% pure C8, while many other MCT supplements are blends of different MCTs, including those that aren't as readily converted into ketones.
Okay, so we're back to that whole potency thing. You're getting a concentrated dose of the good stuff. But isn't pure C8 oil messy to deal with? I've heard horror stories about trying to mix it into coffee.
You're absolutely right. That's another area where Keto Elevate stands out. It's formulated as a powder, which makes it incredibly convenient to mix into beverages, or even sprinkle over food.
That's a huge plus. No more oily residue on my coffee mug. What about the taste? Is it as bland and flavorless as other MCT powders I've tried?
They actually offer both flavored and unflavored options, and claim that the taste is designed to enhance, not overpower whatever you add it to. They even boast about having no artificial sweeteners or fillers.
No artificial sweeteners. Now that you mention it, that's a big deal for me. I'm trying to avoid those as much as possible. But are there any natural sweeteners I should watch out for that might spike my blood sugar?
That's a great question, and it highlights the importance of reading labels carefully. While Keto Elevate claims to be free of artificial sweeteners, it's always a good idea to check the ingredient list to see if there are any natural sweeteners that might affect your blood sugar levels.
Okay, good point. So we've got pure C8, convenient powder form, and potentially a good taste. But what about the company behind it? Can we trust Trustworthiness? Their marketing makes them sound pretty credible, but I'm always a bit skeptical.
It's understandable to be skeptical, especially in the supplement industry. But BioTrust does seem to emphasize transparency and quality control. They talk about conducting university studies on their products, having them independently tested for potency and purity, and working with manufacturers who follow good manufacturing practices.
So they're trying to show that they're not just another fly-by-night supplement company. Do they offer any kind of guarantee?
Yes, they do. They offer a 60-day money-back guarantee. Essentially, you can try Keto Elevate risk-free for 2 months. If you're not satisfied, you can get a full refund.
That's pretty reassuring. It shows that they're confident in their product.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, but I'm still wondering, if I'm not following a strict keto diet, can I really expect to experience the same benefits from just taking Keto Elevate?
That's where things get really interesting, and where we'll pick up in part 2. We'll explore whether you can truly hack the keto diet with C8 MCTs, and how this might fit into different lifestyles and goals. I'm already hooked. Can't wait to dive deeper in the next part. Welcome back. We're in the midst of exploring Keto Elevate and this whole idea of getting keto-like benefits without the actual keto diet. Last time we dug into the science of C8 MCTs and how they're converted into ketones, which can be a more efficient fuel for your brain.
And we started to unpack some of the potential benefits, like improved mental clarity and sustained energy. But the big question remains, can simply adding C8 to your diet really mimic the effects of a full-blown ketogenic diet?
Right, because keto is about so much more than just ketones. It's a complete metabolic shift with changes in hormone production, insulin sensitivity, and even gut bacteria.
You're absolutely right. It's a complex system. And while C8 can certainly boost ketone levels, it won't necessarily replicate all the intricate changes that occur on a ketogenic diet.
So maybe thinking of it as a keto hack is a bit misleading?
Perhaps. It's more accurate to say that C8 offers a targeted approach to increasing ketones, which can potentially provide some of the cognitive and energy-related benefits associated with keto, without requiring the same dietary restrictions.
Okay, that makes more sense. So it's not about replacing the keto diet, but rather offering a way to tap into some of its benefits without the full commitment. But let's get practical for a minute. Let's say I'm not interested in keto at all. Why should I even care about C8?
That's a great point. C8 isn't just for keto enthusiasts. Remember those studies we mentioned about C8 crossing the blood-brain barrier and providing fuel for brain cells?
Yeah, that part really caught my attention. I'm always looking for ways to boost my brain power.
Well, think about it this way. Your brain requires a constant supply of energy to function optimally. And while glucose is its primary fuel source, C8 offers an alternative pathway, a sort of backup generator, if you will.
Interesting analogy. So if my brain is running low on glucose, maybe because I skipped breakfast or I'm having a mid-afternoon slump, C8 can step in and provide a quick energy boost.
Exactly. And because C8 is converted to ketones so rapidly, it bypasses the usual digestive process and provides more immediate energy source. This could be particularly helpful for those who experience brain fog fatigue or difficulty concentrating.
That's incredible. So C8 could be a game changer for people struggling with those issues. Are there any specific situations where using C8 might be particularly beneficial?
Absolutely. We've talked about the potential benefits for cognitive function and energy levels, but there's also growing interest in C8's potential for athletes.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, some studies suggest that C8 might help improve endurance and reduce muscle fatigue during exercise. This is because ketones can be used as an alternative fuel source for muscles, sparing glycogen stores.
So if you're running a marathon or doing a long workout, C8 could help you go the extra mile without hitting the wall?
That's the idea. And because C8 doesn't spike blood sugar levels, it might be a better pre-workout fuel source than high-carb options that can lead to energy crashes.
Interesting. I'm starting to see how C8 could fit into so many different lifestyles. But if someone's thinking about trying it, what should they consider when choosing a C8 supplement?
That's an important question. Not all C8 supplements are created equal. We talked about the importance of purity earlier, and how Keto Elevate prides itself on being 100% C8.
Right, no watered down blends here.
Yeah.
But even beyond purity, there are a lot of other factors to consider, like form, taste, and mixability.
You're absolutely right, and those factors can really impact your experience and whether you'll actually stick with taking the supplement. Remember those horror stories of people trying to mix MCT oil into their coffee?
Oh yeah, not a pretty sight. And even some MCT powders can be clumpy and hard to mix.
Exactly. Keto Elevate addresses those concerns with its powder form and easy mixability. They claim it dissolves effortlessly into hot or cold beverages without any clumping or oily residue.
Okay, so convenience is a big plus. But what about taste? I've tried some MCT powders that were so bland and chalky I could barely choke them down.
I hear you. And that's why Keto Elevate offers both flavored and unflavored options. They emphasize that their flavors are designed to complement, not mask the taste of your drink or food.
So it's not about hiding the C8 flavor, but rather making it enjoyable to consume. That's a smart approach. Are there any other features that set Keto Elevate apart from other MCT supplements?
Well, they highlight the fact that their product is free of artificial sweeteners, fillers, and common allergens. This appeals to a growing number of consumers who are looking for clean, natural ingredients.
That's definitely a trend we're seeing across the board, not just in supplements. People are becoming more aware of what they're putting into their bodies and looking for products that align with their values.
Absolutely. And speaking of values, we should probably touch on BioTrust's commitment to sustainability and ethical sourcing.
Good point. In today's world, it's not just about what's in the product, but also about the company's practices and how they impact the environment and society.
It's exactly. BioTrust mentions their efforts to source ingredients responsibly, reduce their environmental footprint, and support fair labor practices. They're trying to demonstrate that they're a company that cares about more than just profits.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've gone deep on the science of C8 MCTs, explored the potential benefits, and even examined the features and claims of Keto Elevate. But I think it's time to bring it back to you, the listener. What does this all mean for you? And how can you apply this knowledge to your own life?
That's the most important question, isn't it? We've presented a lot of information, but ultimately it's up to you to decide whether C8 MCTs and Keto Elevate are right for you.
Right. We're not here to tell you what to do, but rather to empower you with the knowledge to make informed decisions. But before we wrap up this part, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the ethical considerations surrounding MCT oil production.
That's an interesting point. While MCT oil itself is generally considered safe and sustainable, the sourcing of the raw materials like palm oil can be a complex issue.
Right. We've all heard about the environmental concerns associated with palm oil plantations and the potential impact on deforestation and biodiversity.
Exactly. It's important for consumers to be aware of these issues and to choose brands that prioritize sustainable and ethical sourcing practices.
Good advice. We'll delve further into this topic and explore BioTrust's specific sourcing practices in the next part. Welcome back to our deep dive into Keto Elevate. We've been unpacking the science behind C8 MCTs, exploring potential benefits, and even scrutinizing the company's claims.
And as we wrap up, I think it's important to step back and acknowledge the bigger picture here. This deep dive has really highlighted the evolving landscape of health and wellness.
Right. It's not just about following strict diets anymore. It's about finding tools and strategies that fit our individual needs and goals.
Exactly. And that's where products like Keto Elevate, with its focus on C8 MCTs, come into play. They offer a potential alternative for those seeking benefits associated with the keto diet, but who aren't ready for a complete dietary overhaul.
It's like a way to dip your toes into the keto pool without having to fully commit, right?
Precisely. But it's crucial to remember that Keto Elevate isn't a magic bullet. It's not a replacement for a healthy lifestyle.
Of course not. A balanced diet, regular exercise, stress management, those are still the cornerstones of well-being. But Keto Elevate could be a valuable tool to enhance those efforts, especially for certain individuals.
Absolutely. For example, someone who's struggling with brain fog and fatigue might find that C8 provides a noticeable cognitive boost. Or an athlete looking for a sustained energy source during training could benefit from C8's ability to spare glycogen stores.
Right. It's all about finding what works best for you. But before we make any recommendations, we promise to circle back to that issue of ethical sourcing, particularly regarding palm oil, which is often used in MCT oil production.
Yes, this is an important consideration. Palm oil production has been linked to deforestation and habitat loss, so it's crucial to choose brands that prioritize sustainable practices.
BioTrust does mention sustainable sourcing on their website, but I'm curious to hear more specifics. Do they use certified sustainable palm oil? What steps are they taking to ensure ethical production?
Those are great questions. And honestly, the information provided in the marketing material isn't as detailed as I'd like it to be. They mention working with reputable suppliers, but don't provide concrete evidence of certifications or specific initiatives.
That's a bit of a red flag for me. It's great that they're acknowledging the issue, but consumers deserve more transparency and specific details about their sourcing practices.
I agree. This is an area where BioTrust could definitely improve, providing more concrete evidence of their commitment to sustainable sourcing. which strengthen their credibility and build trust with consumers.
Absolutely. Transparency is key, especially when it comes to ethical considerations. So for those listening who are intrigued by the potential of C8, but also prioritize sustainability, what would you advise?
I'd say, do your own research. Go beyond the marketing material and look for independent reviews or articles that delve into Biotricity's sourcing practices. Reach out to their customer service and ask specific questions about their palm oil sourcing.
Great advice. It's always a good idea to be an informed consumer and make choices that align with your values.
Exactly. And remember, even if Keto Elevate isn't the perfect fit, understanding the potential of C8 can help you evaluate other MCT supplements, or even make informed dietary choices.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Keto Elevate, I think the key takeaway is this: knowledge is power. The more we understand about the science, the products, and the ethical considerations, the better equipped we are to make informed choices about our health and well-being.
Well said. And that's what we're all about here in the deep dive. We encourage you to continue exploring, keep questioning, and never stop learning.
Exactly. The world of health and wellness is constantly evolving, and there's always something new to discover. So stay curious, keep diving deep, and we'll be here to guide you along the way. Until next time.